Shalom, shalom. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our August 19th, 2020. And this is what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be dealing with episode 8 of our Uncomfortable Conversation with a Non-Messianic Hebrew Israelite. And we're dealing with the transatlantic slave trade. Who are the people that was involved in the transatlantic slave trade? And so with that being said, we're going to go into, we're going to do a moment of silence, recognizing our Redeemer, our Savior, and all that he's doing in these last days to deliver us from the lands of our oppressors. And then we're going to go into a prayer, and then we're going to go into the conversation. Okay. Okay. Oh Lord, I pray unto the Lord my God, who make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy with them that love thee, and them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of faith, as it is this day, to the men of Judah, and unto the Israelites, and unto the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass, that we have trespassed against thee. As it is written in the laws of Moses, all this evil is come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in the Americas, in the Caribbean, Great Britain, and Africa. O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, let thy anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city, Jerusalem, and thy people, and thy holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer, cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people for your sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thine ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do. Defer not for thine own sake. O my Lord, for thy people and your land needs you desperately at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay, like I said, the topic today is about the transatlantic, the people of the transatlantic slave trade, identifying them, because it's a must. First of all, I want to say that I'm pleased to be back speaking to and exchanging information with you. The times that we as Hebrew Israelites are living in, or they were prophesied by our forefathers thousands of years ago. And so it's of the utmost importance that we understand the scriptures and dissect them, because our very lives and our deliverance depend upon it. And with that being said, I want to do like I did before, because of the severity of the situation is so dire. I got to present this red pill and this blue pill to you again before I get started. So I'm gonna read it. I'm quite sure everybody familiar with this red pill and blue pill, but it says you can take this blue pill and the story ends. You can go to another channel or whatever, and you wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. Or you can take the red pill and you'll stay in Wonderland, and then me and the people here at Prophets of Awakening will take you into the rabbit hole, and you'll see how deep the rabbit hole goes. And so, with that being said, I'm over here, and you can embrace it. With the red pill, you can embrace what's being said here and what's been said on these previous episodes. You can embrace it, and some of it is painful. And the truth is, the reality of it, what's being unveiled is it's painful. Or you can take the blue pill and remain in bliss and ignorance and in an illusion. And I have to make a point to I'll make that offer to you, to let you know that it's nobody's trying to coerce you or trick you or whatever it is that you think that it may be happening. It's just that like I said before earlier, our forefathers prophesied everything that's going on today. The scriptures tell you it's not a leaf that's going to fall to the ground that the Most High Lord of hosts doesn't know about. So, and that's including the transatlantic slave trade. It's a truth and it's a proper understanding to all the events that surround the transatlantic slave trade, and that's what we're going to deal with today. So, with that being said, I want to read something. I'm gonna go off the camera. I want to read something. It says, like I said, this is episode 8, and it's about who are the people of the transatlantic slave trade. And let's say in the previous episodes, we discovered some unbelievable things about the scriptures and how the scriptures have been altered drastically. David being the Messiah, Zerubbabel being a prince in Daniel 9:25, and Michael, the archangel, being our savior and redeemer of Israel. All these things is hard to fathom and hard to, factor in your mind and get it right. But, it's the truth of the matter. And like I said, it's been prophesied before. It's just coming to pass. I say, and this is being this was the reason I made the offer to you about, the blue and the red and the blue pill. So if we are to uncover who the African Americans are, the people that was brought over here on the ships during the transatlantic slave trade, today they're the African Americans, and we must go to the scriptures. Like I said, the scriptures everything is in the scriptures. It's revealed by the angels given to our forefathers, the prophets, and then it was revealed to us. So with that being said, let me go ahead and make that plain, because I don't want to think of something I'm saying myself. So when you go to Daniel right quick, it's a book in heaven that these angels looking on, book of life, and they come into the earth and they conveying it to the prophets, and then the prophets convey it to the Israelites, and that's where the prophecies come from. So I'm in Daniel chapter. I'm in Daniel chapter 10, verse 20, and what's happening is Gabriel. Daniel had a dream. Gabriel came to him to give him the understanding of the dream. And so in 20, he says, "Then said he, Know thou wherefore I come unto thee, and now will I return to fight with thee, fight with the prince of Persia, and when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Greece shall come." 21, "But I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth." That's the book of life that's in heaven. And it says, "And there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael, your prince." So we see right here from scriptures, it's nothing that I concocted or anybody on this line concocted, but he tells you right here, it's him, the archangel Gabriel, and his Lord, Michael, the archangel, is the ones that's looking on this book, and they bring this information down to the earth, to our forefathers, the prophets, and the Israelites, and that's how we get these prophecies. So if we're trying to discover who the people of the transatlantic slave trade is, here we go to the scriptures, and it's going to tell us who they are. And then, like I said before, once you discover that, you can't sit on your thumbs and don't do nothing. You have to act on it once it's conveyed to you. So, with that being said, I'm gonna move forward. It says, "The Lord of hosts delivered the Israelites from Egypt with a mighty hand, and he brought them into the land of flowing with milk and honey." That's the land of Canaan. It says, once they increased in wealth and knowledge, they forsook the Lord of hosts and started serving other gods. The Lord of hosts and the Israelites went back and forth for many generations until the Lord's anger came to a full, and he offered Israel an alternative. And that alternative is situated in Deuteronomy 28, verses 1 through 14, which consists of the blessings of Israel if they do right. This was given to them by the Lord of hosts. And verses 15 through 68, the curses was offered to them if they disobeyed his laws and his statutes and his commandments. And so the Israelites chose the latter of the two, which is they ended up they obeyed him, and they went away from him and started worshiping other idols and images. It says and he placed the curses upon the curses of Deuteronomy upon them. Okay, and then Deuteronomy 28. So all that brings us to the point of, you say, why am I dealing with Deuteronomy 28? Well, the objective is to find out who the African Americans were and who the people were that was involved in this tremendous act of against humanity that was done during the transatlantic slave trade. So when you dive into Deuteronomy 28, you get to verses 45 and 46, and I'm gonna read that because of what it's gonna do is it's self-explanatory. Let me go to it. Deuteronomy 28. I'm taking a backdoor approach it's for a reason. So Deuteronomy 28, 45 and 46, it says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So, like I was saying earlier, this book right here was given to us by our forefathers, which was given to them by these angels. And so we're trying to find out through these curses, do they line up with what happened to the people in the transatlantic slave trade? And so the Most High conveyed to Moses that if you're looking for the Israelites, whomever they are, if you're looking for them, these curses got to line up with who they are. These curses will identify who they are. He says in 28 and 46 that they shall be upon thee, our forefathers, and thy seed forever. So if you're looking for them, you gotta do a comparison and contrast with whatever nation of people you're dealing with, and look at their history and look at these curses, and if it line up, then you can identify who the Israelites were. So we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna. It says. So it says, I'm going to reiterate something. It says that it states that Deuteronomy 28, 45, 46 says, it states that all the curses of Deuteronomy will be upon the Israelites wherever they are until the end, throughout all their generations. So that's precise. So if you're looking for them and they're still on the earth, these curses are going to be on them. So therefore, we at Prophets of Awakening are going to in this episode, do a comparison and contrast to the Israelites of the Bible and the African Americans of the transatlantic slave trade. Curse by curse. All right? Let's do it. So what I'm going to do is, give me a minute to set my little thing up. Yeah, so like I said, I'm gonna read all the curses, and then we're gonna bump them uh, against the historical events and see if they line up with anything that has to do with the African American and what happened to him. So with that being said, I'm gonna start reading. I'm in Deuteronomy chapter 28, and what happened is Israel kept sinning against the Most High, and they were at Mount Sinai, and the Lord of hosts had Moses to give Israel an ultimatum in Deuteronomy chapter 28, and the verses 1 through 14. He says that if the commandments and the statutes and the judgments that was given to them at Mount Sinai, if they adhered to them, then he lists a series of blessings that they will receive. But because we trying to find out who the Israelites are today, we're dealing with 15 through 68. It's the curses, and it says that if they would not adhere to his voice and do all that he commanded them, then he was going to put these curses on them. And we know that they didn't. They went contrary to what he had told them, so he put the curses on them. So we're going to start reading these curses and do a comparison and contrast. So it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, cursed shall thou be in the field, cursed shall thou be thy basket and thy store, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy king and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in, cursed shall thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexations, rebuke, and all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doing, whereby thou hast forsaken me. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with inflammation, and with extreme burning, and with a sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thy heavens that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. The Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. The Lord shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with scabs, and with itch, wherefore thou canst not be healed. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as thou gropest, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thy enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hands. The fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and cursed always, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs, with the sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy feet unto the top of thy head. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among the nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shall gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shall neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worm shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olives shall cast her fruit. Thou shalt begat sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All the trees and the fruit of thy land shall be locusts consumed. The stranger that is within thee shall get up among thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because of thy hearkeneth not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which I command thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. I'm going to read that again. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the ends of the earth, as swift as an eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou knowest that thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the persons of old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, oil, or increase of king, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in the gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout all the land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee in the siege, and the straightness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left in him in siege, in the straightness wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. The tender and the delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young ones that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege and straightness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in thy gate. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God, then the Lord will make the plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of long continence, and sore sickness, and long continence. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all these diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in this book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until he be destroyed, and he shall be left in number, few in number, whereas thou were as the stars of heaven for a multitude, because thou wouldst not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, So the Lord will rejoice over you, destroy you, and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there shalt thou serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the soles of thy feet have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling of heart, failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have no assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were evening, and at evening thou shalt say, would God it was morning, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way where I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So these are the curses that I just read that is upon the Israelites, whomever they may be. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into some of these curses, some of the obvious ones, and then we're going to do a comparison contrast with the plight of the African American. So what you see behind me is some of the curses of Deuteronomy 28. We see right here, Deuteronomy 28 and 48 says, 28 and 48. Let me read it. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies with which the Lord thy God shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So we see right here, it's very hard to figure out. See, you see the yoke of iron all on the African American, our forefathers that was brought over here. Got a yoke of iron on, can't get around it. So when we get over here to Deuteronomy, you see the yoke of iron right here. And you see right here, up here, we got the yoke of iron. Okay, and so then let me give you some more images right quick. Like I said, by the time we finish with these images, we're going to see exactly who Children of Israel is. Okay. Okay, so right here, you see right here, it says, it's Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee again into Egypt, again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, right? So we see right here that Egypt is house of bondage. So they was in the house of bondage in Egypt, in the land of Egypt, that's not the name of it. They call it Egypt because it's related to the story that happened to the Israelites, but the name of the land is Mizraim. So so a house of bondage came about because of the plight of the Israelites. So we see right here, this Deuteronomy 28, and we see that surely, indeed, we came over here in the bottom of slave ships. Just like I say right here, our forefathers came here, they go to ships. See? And then we see right here, ships, how they was loaded on the ships. Right here, it's Deuteronomy 28. And then also, a lot of people don't know, there's this is manifestos. This is one of the manifestos. This is the smaller ones. But you go to manifesto and you got what you begin to find out is that these people knew exactly who we were when they brought us over here. So it's not they in a state of shock right now because we found out who we are. But they knew from the beginning, you know, and they deceived the whole world. They knew who we were because if you look right here, these are the people that was on the manifesto. They got Hebrew names. All these names is Hebrew. Ghana, Edipia, Onia, all these names is Israelite names. And then they get over here, they change the names when they got them over here. So they knew the people who came here, got off the ships with these names, everybody would knew who they were. But they changed the manifesto. Let me get another one that's a little larger than that. Okay. Yeah, so see, he got a larger one. And so we see right here, they got Israelite names. And you can go on, it's called voyages.com. Go on there and they got listing after listing of those manifestos. All these, they got Hebrew names. They knew exactly who we were. Even show you where they went to over here, place where they were taken to. And so they knew beyond a shadow of a doubt who we were. We just not finding out. And that's one of the reasons why I figured I wanted to go back and revisit this right here. Put it as part of as one of these episodes. So, because a lot of people didn't know that. So right here we know that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that wasn't their names. That was their slave names in Egypt, in Babylon. Their real names was over here: Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. That's their Israelite names, just like over here. And then they went into captivity because we accustomed to captivity. We see right here, their names are changed. Well, they were changed right here. So we see that. And then, like I said, I read Deuteronomy 28 and 68. He said we're gonna go into captivity on ships. Well, they go to ships right here. Can you see that? Look at that. Yeah, they got them stacked in there. And then we see in Deuteronomy 28 and 64, it says, you get it? Okay. 28 and 64 says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there you shall serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So we see right here the scattering, how they got scattered. See where they at? It's the West Coast, Africa. We're gonna get into that in a minute. But they came over here, they always right here on the West Coast of Africa, and then they were scattered to the Caribbeans, to the Americas, to Great Britain, to all different parts of the world, right here. And they went by ships. Just like Deuteronomy 28 and 64 said. And so, like I said right here, we got the conditions of what happened in slave ships. It says harsh, cramped, no headroom, nasty and dark. Ships were big, had big decks, held hundreds of slaves. Slaves were chained down to the ship. So all this was already prophesied by Moses. And he got it from the angels and he gave it to our forefathers. And like I said, it's right there in the book. So what we're doing right now is identifying who the African American is without a doubt. So we can move forward with this with this episode and uncover the truth. So I'm gonna put up some more images right quick. Yeah, like I said, it says, I'm gonna read this right here. It says, in the Lord, so you can see it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And the Lord said, the Lord will take you back to Egypt in ships by the way which I said to you, you shall never see it again, and there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. That's Deuteronomy 26:8. There we go. We see the ships. See the ships. We see them over here. So I wanted to nail that down because, like I said, you can't apply this curse right here, 28 and 68. You can't apply it to nobody else. We own that because you see it right here. So we see that the African American own that 64 and 24 and 68. So let me get some more images. So bear with me. Yeah, so we noticed that everybody that went to that had history class, took history in high school, we see all these images of Negroes in history books of Negroes for sale all over the place. We see it all through history books. Well, we're going to get down to the bottom of it today. So, see right here. I'll show you the images. Yeah, here we go right here. You see right here. We see all we was taught this in history in the high school, history books, even in college. It says Negroes sell. So we see that we just identified Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and he says that and the Lord shall bring thee again into Egypt, again with ships. By the way, there where I spoke unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Here we go. Negroes. Notice what they're saying? Negroes for sale. See it over here. Negroes for sale, right? Put up some more images. You see Negroes for sale. So, like I said, we looking at this and we cementing it down. It's got Negroes for sale. So why are they saying Negroes? Give me a minute. So it says, why I'm asking the question, why is they saying Negroes for sale? Because where they got them from right here. They got them from Negro land. See that? Negro land. So where is this Negro land at? Right here. So why they saying Negroes for sale? Well, go back to what happened right here. This is where Israel right here. So they was ran out right here, and they fled. But notice where they went. They're showing you where they went. They ended up over here. The prophecy, Deuteronomy 28, hadn't happened yet. But the Most High is setting it up. So they fled all different directions, like he said. They're gonna flee in all different directions. They left, and they all ended up down here. This Negro land. I showed you over here. See right here? Negro land. There it is. They're showing you on the map. So that's why they're saying Negroes for sale, because they got them from Negro land. And then we can see over here that they was Israelites. They fled from Israel, and they ended up over here in this place called Negro land. And then the curses of Deuteronomy, some of the curses of Deuteronomy 28 caught up with them. And then Deuteronomy 28, the ships came. And like I said, everybody that know anything about this know that their brother, Esau, came with the ships. The Edomites came with their ships and then scattered them. They used those ships during the transatlantic slave trade to scatter them all over the place. But like I said, it's no coincidence that they call them Negroes up here. You know, they call them Negroes because they got them from Negro land. You know what I'm saying? Right here. They got them from Negro land. So, like I said, when you start looking at that, you see that African American, the ones that was brought over here in 1619 all the way up until today, and there's people that's here today, the descendants of those people are none other than the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. So, and like I said, we can go from one curse to the next curse to the next curse, and it's going to show you all up and down who we are. So now with that being established, I want to go somewhere else really right quick. So you say, who are these people you're talking about? What does that mean? What's the significance of what's so big about that? We're gonna look at this right here real quick. Okay. So now that we established it, now we gotta go back to something that was revealed a little earlier in one of the previous episodes. But so you say, who are these people that that you call African Americans? Well, they had a forefather called Jacob, and his name was changed. We're gonna look at it right quick. The Genesis chapter 32, right quick. I'm gonna read it. I'm doing a little backtracking so I can make this plain. So it says, Genesis chapter 32 says, in 24, and Jacob was left alone, and there he wrestled a man until the breaking of day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, That name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince has thou power with God and with men. So we see right here, the father of these Israelite people, which is 12 tribes. His name was Jacob, and he wrestled with his angel. He strove with him. He strived with him. So when you understand that, that's what happened with us. At least how we got over here. The same characteristics that he had, he possessed. It was conveyed to his children. And the whole time that Israel was a nation, they strove with their make. They strove with their Lord. They strove with the Lord of hosts, just like their father did. Okay, so where does the Hebrew come from? We go to Genesis chapter. And like I said, this is important. The reason why I'm showing it to you, because you understand, it's gonna make you understand a little more. So I'm in Genesis chapter 10, verse 21. It said, unto Shem also the father of all the children of Eber. That Eber means Hebrew, which it means those who crossed over. It says, the brother of Japhet the elder, even him were children born. The children of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram. And the children of Aram, Uz, Hug, Geder, Mesh, and Arphaxad begot Shelah, and Shelah begot Eber. And unto Eber were born two sons, and the name of one was called Peleg, and the name of the other was Joktan. So Eber means he who crossed over right here. Next, you say crossed over what? They crossed over the great flood that came. Noah and Shem and the people that the Most High had them to gather. He put them on the boat, and Noah and Shem was Hebrews, because they crossed over. And the people that got on, when we got to the other side after the water receded, they were Hebrews, because they had Noah and Shem knew what happened before the flood and what happened after the flood. And so just like this, the spirit that was on this man, it was transferred to the children as far as striving with their maker. The spirit on this man right here, and Shem, Noah and Shem, was passed on to the people after the flood. And that's how you get the word, let me get situated. That's how you get the word Hebrew Israelite right here. Hebrew Israelite. And that's who we are. People, African American, are Hebrew Israelites. And so, with that being said, we're gonna move forward. But I gotta change my images up. But I'm gonna open up for a little Q&A. Anybody want to inject anything in it or ask any questions while I'm doing that? They can. Okay.
Shalom, shalom.
Okay.
Okay, Leonard, when you say that the spirit of Noah and Shem was transferred to us after the flood, that was the spirit of what? This,
That's their countenance. The way their countenance was that they were the children who crossed over on the flood. They crossed over from the age that lifestyle that was going on before the flood. It was transferred to the children after the flood. And from Shem and Noah all the way to Abraham and Isaac. Because Abraham and Isaac was Hebrews, but Abraham and Isaac wasn't Israelites.
okay.
Their son Jacob was an Israelite. So that's how you get the Hebrew Israelite.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? One more question? Okay. these images right here, what I'm bringing out now is they just put two cement what we're dealing with. Here we go. Yeah. So like I said, Hebrew Israelites, and here we go right here. These people that came over here on the transatlantic slave trade ascended from these people. You see right here, this is one of our forefathers before the flood. Enoch and this Abraham. We know who Abraham is. Abraham is Isaac's father, and he's Jacob's grandfather. And then King David. All these. So what you begin to find out is that because we don't know that, we think that we just some kind of nomadic people that come up out the desert somewhere and don't have no history. But what you're going to find out is that we have some dynamic people that's tied to our lineage, and not only that, we caught up in some curses. So it's not that we are a foolish nation or disoriented. It's just that we have it's prophecies that's on us pertaining to the curses, and these prophecies and these curses have to play themselves out. And so, and my reason for showing you these some of our patriarchs is to let you know that we're not just some people that came up out of nowhere that ain't about nothing. So here go Moses. But these some of our ancestors, and then everybody that if you over 12 years old, all these people are, and these are people that's bigger than life, and they came forth from our lineage, our forefathers, our lineage, and a lot of the reason why we don't know a lot of this is because, like I said, we've been tricked and fooled and bamboozled, and we so far away from our culture and our homeland. Like I said, Deuteronomy 24 and 64, he tells us right here that he says that let me get it. And 64, and the Lord shall scatter thee from among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other end, and there shall serve other gods, which thy fathers have, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So he said, from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth. It's a mass area. So that means we all over the place. And so that's the reason why, because of that, we don't know this. But like I said before, he proclaimed to us that he was going to help us in the last days, and that's where we at right now. The reason why you seeing this stuff right here, and you're hearing it all over YouTube and all over the place, because of he's adhering and he's dealing with a promise that he made to us. And I'm gonna read that right quick. And like I said before, from this day forward, if you didn't know it, you know it now, that the African American that's in America that was brought over here from 1619 until today are Hebrew Israelites. And the Hebrew Israelites are the people of the book that the God of the Bible, the God of the Old Testament, says he loves, that he says is the apple of his eye. So you have to understand that. So what I'm gonna do is move a little further. What I want to deal with now is some of the reasons why one of the major reasons why we don't a lot of this stuff is not known to us is because of like I said, first of all, they gave us a New Testament, and it had nothing to do with us. They gave us a new God, like he said right here in Deuteronomy 28. He says 64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all nations from one end of the earth even to the other, and there you shall serve other gods. So we're not going to serve the God that's in the Old Testament, that's in the Tanakh. We're not going to be dealing with him. He hid his face from us. And then he says, And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall thy soles of thy feet have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling of heart, a failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind, right? And so that's one of the reasons why we don't know this stuff, but we're going to go a little further into it. And let me get some more images. So if you have somebody have a question or some response or whatever, they can say it while I'm doing this. Right. So
Shalom, shalom.
okay.
I just wanted to say that what a what an awesome thing to come to know that we ascended from such a great lineage of people, the people, the men in the Bible that obeyed the Lord of hosts uh with everything that he told them to do. Moses, everybody all over the world knows about Moses and
Right.
Noah, and those are our, like you say, those are our patriarchs,
Right.
and we came forth from them.
Right.
And you said a statement that you said we are the people of the Tanakh.
Right.
That's
We,
major. That's really major.
right. Yeah, we
To say,
ascended from these people.
yeah,
Right. So, like I said, we are the same. They great. That mean we great.
yeah.
We have their DNA in us. But that's been hidden from us. But like I said, he said he was gonna help us in the latter days. This is where the help is. The information that's being brought forth right now. Like I said before, it's uncomfortable, and some of it's hard to believe. But when you zero in on it and do your research and do your due diligence, you come to find out that it's indeed the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah.
And then one last thing is we are the people that the Lord of hosts promised to come back and help.
Right. Exactly. If it wasn't for him, we would go away into oblivion because they had us snowed in, but he had promised that he was going to help us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we know one of the reasons why right here, why we didn't know these things, because like I said, they've tampered with our records drastically. So what you see right here is okay. We're gonna open the screen. Yeah. So we see right here, this guy is Antioch Epiphanes, right? And so you say, who is this? We're gonna read it right quick. We in Daniel. So some people may not never heard of him, but you're gonna find out who it is tonight. So it says right here that Daniel had a dream in Daniel chapter 8, and he was he saw a dream of a ram and a he-goat. And so when you understand that it's four beasts that's supposed to come upon the earth, the four beasts, and he said that the first one was the Chaldeans, the second one was the Medes and Persians, the third one was the Greeks, and the fourth one was the Romans. And so Daniel had a vision from verses 1 through 14 and didn't understand it. And so Gabriel came to him in verse 15 to break down the understanding of it. And that's what we're going to read. It says, and it came to pass, and they understand that Daniel is in captivity in Babylon. So in the second beast, doing the Medes and Persians, just came on the scene. It says, and it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision, saw for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Uriah, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid. I fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation, for the time appointed, the end shall be. So what we have to do right here, because it's of the utmost importance to understand how we ended up in the bottom of the hulls of slave ships, and how we ended up over here with yokes of iron around our neck and getting the hell beat out of us with whips. So he says in verse 17, so he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid, and I fell upon my face, and he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for the time of the end shall be the vision. So what you would think is, when he said the time of the end, he's talking about the end of the world, but he's not. Israel, the Most High went and got these Israelites, our forefathers, from Egypt. And he brought them to where he dwells at, which is Mount Zion. He brought them there, he took them into himself. He inherited them. That's how we know it's not Yah. The Lord of hosts inherited them. And he brought them to where he was at. And when we started this class, he gave them an ultimatum. He said, I'm going to take you to a land of milk and honey. When you get there, either you can adhere to these laws and statutes that I gave to you through my prophet Moses and receive the blessings from Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14, or you can disobey me and go contrary to what I told you and receive the curses. Deuteronomy 15 through 68. And they chose to be disobedient. And so the curses came. So what he's talking about, they are a nation. And he gave them their own land. And he said that if they didn't adhere to what he was doing, he was going to take away that. He's going to take away he's going to take them out of the land, drive them out of the land, and he was going to take away their inheritance. And so this is what we witness. So he's saying what he's talking about in Daniel chapter 8 and 17, the time of the end of them as a nation. He's not going to allow them to exist as a nation no more because they were disobedient to him. That's what these curses is about. So you have to understand it's not the end of the world he's talking about. And we're going to see that in a minute. So 18. Now, as he was speaking with me, it's Daniel 8 and 18. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me, set me upright, and he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be the last end of indignation, for at the time appointed, the end shall be. So the end of the time appointed for the end is the end of Israel as a nation. And the indignation is, or like I said in the beginning of this episode, is that he went back and forth with Israel. They striving with him, just like their forefathers did. He had to hit Jacob on the hip to get him off of him, and he lived the rest of his life because he strove with the Lord of hosts. And it's like I said, so the only way to get him off of him, he had to knock his hip out of joint, rather than kill him. So the children doing this too. They back and forth struggling with him. So his indignation, his indignation with them, he tired of dealing with them. They back and forth. So he brought the nation of Israel to an end. But what has happened to us is we've been lied to about when did this happen. And so we're gonna continue to keep reading. So, like I said, these angels are giving us the information, and they're reading the book that's in heaven. So if you're gonna listen to some mega pastor or somebody it's in one of these Ivy League schools, or you're gonna listen to the angels that's come from heaven, that's got a book up there, and he's looking at it. And he says, 20, the ram which thou saw having two horns are the kings of the Medes and Persians. That's the second beast. You got to remember that. The second beast. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn between his eyes is the first king. So that's the third beast. Daniel is right now, enter into the second beast because Cyrus getting ready to come on the scene. And so, and the Greeks are the third beast. Then he says 21, and the rough goat is the king of Greece, and the great horn is between his eyes is the first king. Then 22, now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of that nation, but not in his own power. He's still talking about the third beast out of that nation. 23, and in the latter time of their kingdom, the third beast, when the transgressors are come to a full, a king of fierce countenance, understanding dark sentences, shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully, and he shall prosper, practice, and he shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Israel is a holy people. We just read up here in verse 18. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright, and he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation, the time appointed, the end shall be. So it's the holy people. He's going to bring the holy people and a nation and a culture to an end. It's not the end of the world, but it's going to happen. This king of fierce countenance is in the third beast. And it's going to come, and he says it's going to come to an end. Well, who is this king of fierce countenance? Here he is right here. Antioch Epiphanes. This is the guy that brought Israel to an end. Not Vespasian and Titus and Vespasian, but it's this guy right here, Antioch Epiphanes, the nation of Israel. So you say, well, what you talking about? I had just read over here in the curses. Let's go to the curses right quick. We're going to do a comparison and contrast with what I just read in Daniel chapter 8. In Deuteronomy 28, it says, the curse, Deuteronomy 28 and 55, so that he will not give to any of them the flesh of his own, of his children whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left of him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith they thy enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. And a tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, the delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward her husband, and her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young ones that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege, and straightway wherein thy enemies shall distress thee in the gates. So what I want you to understand is that the Gentiles is our enemies, and the Greeks are Gentiles. The Greeks and the Romans are Gentiles. So I wanted to connect that dot for you, but let me find what I was looking for. It says, right here, 49 says, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So when you understand that, when Daniel explained to you who the third beast is, he saw the animals, and he also saw it with metals. But when he saw the animals, it was a leopard, and we know how fast a leopard is. And not only did the leopard it was a leopard, but he had 4 wings on his back, so that make him even 10 times faster and swifter than what he was. He a leopard already, the fastest animal on the planet, and then he got 4 wings on his back. So he tells you right here, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the ends of the earth, as swift as an eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the persons of old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee neither corn nor wine or oil, or the increase of the king or the flocks of thy sheep until he have destroyed thee. And then you go back to Daniel chapter 8, and they did all this. He says, 23, and in latter times of their kingdom, the Greek kingdom, when the transgressors are come to a full, a king of fierce countenance. We just read it over here. He says, a nation of fierce countenance, right? Come back. nation of king of fierce countenance and understand dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully and prosper in practice, and he shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. We go back over here to curses. 50, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young, and he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed. He just told you they were going. That's what they did over here. He destroyed the holy people. There ain't but one holy people. That's the Israelites. So we see right here it's during the time of the Greeks, and it's this guy, Antioch Epiphanes. And like I said, you come over here and you see that, show you where he came from. This Ptolemy, Alexander died. These the 4 men right here that took up his kingdom. And there go the little horn that came up out of one of the men right here, Antioch Epiphanes. And he showed up right here. This guy showed up right here over here in Jerusalem. And we're going to look at it. Because you got to understand this. This is when anybody that's watching. So, right here. This is what all these things that he done, what the Antichrist did. Right here. He outlawed Judaism. He looted the temple, the Israelite temple. We're gonna see in a minute that temple in 70 AD was no Israelite temple. So he looted the temple. He put a Greek citadel in the Jerusalem. He persecuted the Israelites. These were the Jews. And then, most of all, he caused abomination to make it desolate. Let's look at that right quick. So like I said, we've identified who the Israelites are, the people that transatlantic slave trade. But I want to go a little further because there's a lot of things that's happening right now that we need to know that's tied to Israel as a nation. So it says, Daniel 9:25-26 says, I'm gonna read 25. We already dealt with this, but we know that that's Zerubbabel. But it says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again, and the wall in troublesome times. We dealt with all that. We know that that's Zerubbabel, and we know that Cyrus gave the proclamation for the Israelites to go back from Babylon. That's what that's dealing with. It ain't got nothing to do with the future, because ain't no Israelite temple. This man right here destroyed the Israelite temple. So how is somebody gonna come again and destroy a temple that's been destroyed almost 2,500 years? So we get to Daniel 9:26, and after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off. We know that was Zerubbabel, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come. Here you go, right here. Let's look at it. See, if you're a prince, that means you son of a king. Well, here you go. So listen, it's one of the 4 generals that took out. There go Alexander right here. He died. This the goat. This in Daniel 8. There go the 4 men that took over after Alexander died. They go to King Solicitous. He go to the prince that shall come right here. Antioch Epiphanes. There he is. And look what he's doing. He's gonna tell you what he done. And after 62 weeks, the Messiah shall be cut off, but not for himself. And the prince and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. Until the end, wars and desolations are determined. That's what we're looking at in Daniel 9, Daniel chapter 11. King of the south, king of the north, king of the east, all them, they warring. There's wars going on. All that already happened. It says 27, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And at the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifices and the oblations to cease. And for the overspreading of the abomination, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So we see right here, this guy, Antioch Epiphanes, we see it up there as his name. His name means that he tells he's going to exalt himself above God. That's what that name means. He was above God. So right here we see the abomination that make it desolate. It's right there in your face. He calls the abomination to make it desolate. There go the Antichrist. So this is one of the reasons why the Israelite is so blind and thrown off today, right now, because he don't know these things. And that's why I'm taking the time out right now with this uncomfortable conversation to show them to you. So we see right here, they go to abomination and desolation. This man right there called it. We at the end of the third beast, right? So, and the other one is, let me turn this off. And anybody got any questions or something they don't understand, we can talk about it while I'm changing these pictures. Okay. Okay. So, like I was saying before, one of the reasons why we don't want to say a lot of this stuff is because, they changed the timeline, how everything happened in order to bring in the New Testament. So, I'm gonna show you something right here. I showed you that the Antichrist already came. Now I'm gonna show you that what temple was this? This Antioch Epiphanes destroyed the Israelite temple when it was explained to Daniel by Gabriel that this Antioch Epiphanes, this prince that was going to come, was going to destroy the people, run them out of the land, and destroy the cause abomination and make it desolate. And then, so we're going to see right here who was these people that was in the land in 70 AD. Well, here go to what happened right here. I'm in Obadiah right quick. These things have to be understood in order to, because like I said, we at the very end, and you gotta understand this. This is one of the reasons why I chose to do this episode 8, was to go ahead and get this out the way and get it up under everybody's belt, so they'll have some more pieces to the puzzle to so they'll know what's going on. Okay, so I'm in Obadiah right quick. I'm gonna read this right. It's only one chapter. So, like I was saying before, Jacob got a brother, and his brother hates him with all-out hatred, and he felt like the land that was given to Jacob, or that the Lord of hosts went and got them and brought them to the land of Canaan. He felt like it was his land, but he didn't receive it because he was wicked as hell. He didn't receive the land. So at the time when I just showed you that the Most High said in Daniel chapter 8 that the Israelites are going to get kicked out the land, well, Esau was there to come in and come in when he brought this prince Antioch Epiphanes on the scene. Esau was there with him, and he wanted the land. So we're going to read that right quick. I'm in Obadiah chapter, it's one chapter, verse 10. It says, first of all, he lets you know who it is that stole the land. He says in verse 5, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought out? That's what the average Israelite don't know. That's what I'm conveying to you today. So the Most High, he asked the question, somebody stole something, and then he says why they stole it. And then he goes to Esau. So we get down to verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother. So we already know who it is. It's Jacob. Jacob, his brother. He ain't got one brother. Esau. He says, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that strangers carried away captive his forces, foreigners entered into his gates, cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them. But thou should not have looked on thy brother in the day of his that he became a stranger. That's when what we just read in Daniel chapter 8, time of the end. When he became a stranger because his territory was taken away. His land, the Most High drove him out. That's part of the Deuteronomy 28, the curses. So when the curses came, Esau was there to steal the land. But it didn't happen when they're telling you it happened. It happened in 143 BC. I'm going to read that in a minute. So he says, but thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither should they have spoken proudly in the day of their distress. Thou should not have entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither should thou have stood in the crosshairs to cut off those that did escape. Neither should thou have delivered up those that did remain in the day. So when you understand how the Lord of hosts works, he always leave a remnant. He left a remnant of the giants, Og and Bashan. He didn't, all the giants weren't killed, he left a remnant. He's a righteous God. He's a righteous El. So he always leave a remnant. Esau know that. He was raised by Abraham. So he wanted the land. So he killed the remnant. Right here. The Most High telling him that. He killed the remnant. And so we know in verse 11 it says, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that strangers carried away captive his forces, foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them. So what lots? Like I said, he felt like that was his land all along. So you say, what lots? Let me show you the lots right quick. It's the lots right here. See that? So we just read that. Most High said the time of Israel as a nation gonna come to end. A prince was gonna come and destroy the sanctuary and the city. And Epiphany did that. You go to Lot when they came in from Egypt and they came into the land with Joshua as they lead them. They came in and they conquered all this land and took the land by lots. And there's 12 lots for the 12 tribes of Israel. So when Epiphany came in there and with Most High sent him, he running them out. Esau came in and stole the land, the lots, but came in behind him with them. The Greeks don't care about the land, about that, but Esau do. It means something to him, so he came in and stole the land by lot, by the 12 lots. And so what did he do? He named himself by the same name. By each one of the tribes got a name. He named himself by the same name. So from this point on to 70 AD, you got Israelites living in the land. You got Edomites living in the land. The Israelites gone. So where the Israelites at? They over here. Right here. I showed you that right here. They been gone. When the Epiphanies came, they fled right here. So I want to show you something. So this is a book everybody know about. Babylon of Timbuktu. And he talks about this right here. This very event, this book here. If you don't have it, you should get it. So, but the time off. He got the timeline off. This happened in 143 BCE. I'm going to show you that. So from 143 BCE all the way to 70 AD, these Edomites in the land. Obadiah tells you that. And they posing as Israelites. Now, even to the point where, let me read it right quick. Like I say, some people have heard this, but it's people that haven't heard it. So Daniel chapter 11. Like I was telling you, Daniel chapter 11 is already happened. They ain't talking about nothing in the future. These king of the south, king of the north, all that. Those are the four generals from Alexandria, and they dead, but they descendants. They received land from the Greek kingdom was divided into four parts: south, south, north, east, and west. So, like I was saying before, in Daniel chapter 11, it says, verse 14, and in those days and at that time, many shall stand up against the king of the south. what I'm trying to tell you. Let me show you that right quick. I'm gonna make it plain. Let me get it right quick. See right here? Say the king of the south. See that? Four generals took Alexander's place. This is Ptolemy is from the south. He took Judea and Egypt. He's the king of the south. You got the king of the north. You go to the other three. So that's what he's talking about. So it's not this. You can't read Daniel chapter 11 in a futuristic format. You got to read it. It's already happened. And so we're gonna see that right here. Verse 14, 11 and 14 says, and in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. That's this guy right here, right? And then it says, king of the south, also the robbers of our people. Well, Obadiah just told you robbed Israel. The robbers of our people. That's the Esau. And look what he done. Our people shall exalt themselves and establish a vision, but they shall fall. What vision? Solomon built the temple. And Zerubbabel built the temple. So what they do? They picked the vision up, and Herod built the temple. So they want you to think that it was just it was Israelites there. There wasn't no Israelites there. None remained. No Israelites there. They killed the remnant. The Most High always leave a remnant for the Israelites to let them know that he's going to bring them back. But Esau killed the remnant. So there's no Israelites there. It's all Edomites. And they picked the vision up. Daniel chapter 11, 14 tell you that. And they built the temple. That's the temple that Titus and Vespasian destroyed in 70 AD. And so, like I said before, when you understand that in 143 BC, I'm going to show you that right before I close. In 143 is BC is when these Israelites left. And they went to the west coast of Africa, which is Negro land. And they was there until the slave ships came, fulfilling Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and brought us over here. We were scattered, part of the curses. But the Edomites are still in the land, living in this, they stole it by a lie. Then when Titus and Vespasian came, these are the Israelites, these are the Edomites that was in the land. Right here, Israel. This is where they went. See the route? It's like night and day. I'm showing you over here where the Israelites went. And this is where they went. They in Israel. See, we in Israel. When we went here and went down to the Negro land in West Africa, and these people right here, they went this route. See, they went all up in Europe. They tied to they in league with the Europeans. And then Harris family, Harris lineage was given safe passage. From here, they went straight to Spain. And then you wonder why Spain popped up all of a sudden on the world, in the world history, running everything with the Columbus and the three ships that went out to America, the Nina Pina and Santa Maria. It's these people right here, these Edomites, that posed as Israelites. They stole the land and they was living in the land right here. These lots, they were living in the land by naming themselves as the 12 tribe of Israel. And in 70 AD, they was kicked out. And they show you where they went. And that's the dilemma, and that's the reason why up until recently, we didn't know who the hell we was. Because of these two lies right here, the one I showed you in Obadiah and the one I showed you in with Antioch Epiphanes in Daniel chapter 8. And so once those two lies are uncovered, then you got a greater understanding, and you understand why we didn't know who we were. And I showed you how they when they brought us over here, they had out, on the manifestos, they had our forefathers had Hebrew names. But by the time they got to America, they had changed their names. And they show you that in the movies where they was beating the hell out of Lamar Burton and changed his name. And we saw how Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had those were slave names. Their real names was Azariah and they had Hebrew names. So with that being said, we'll give you one more. Let me see what we had. Okay, yeah, I got a little more time. We'll give you a couple more things. Any comments, any questions? Something nobody don't understand. No questions.
Shalom, shalom.
Okay.
Okay, then so in 143 BC, that was the abomination by Antioch Epiphanes,
Right.
and he teamed up with Esau, and
Right.
they ran the real uh Hebrew Israelites,
Ran them out.
ran them out of the land. And is
Right.
at that time that's when they went to the west coast of Africa?
Right. They fled in 143 BC. You know, it's all right there in this guy Winslow wrote this book Babylon and Timbuktu.
Yeah, I
But
have that book.
uh,
I have
but
that book.
you got the timeline off though. Timeline in 143 BC. And after I set these up right here, I'm gonna read right quick. I'm gonna read that part of it. Like I said, I already been established who the African Americans are. I'm just putting some icing on the cake. So when you go to let me get it right quick.
Okay.
Apocrypha. Okay. So I'm in First Maccabees. In case anybody got Apocrypha with them, we're not gonna read all of it. You can read the rest of it, you know, for edification on your own time. Here we go. Okay, so I was reading in Daniel chapter 8. Let me read it right quick to tie this together. So you understand. It says I'm in 23, Daniel 8 and 23. And in the latter times of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to a full, a king of fierce countenance and understand dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully, shall prosper, practice, destroy the mighty and the holy people, and through his policies also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace he shall destroy many, and he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall not, but he shall be broken without hand. So we're going to go to First Maccabees, and that's a prophecy. Like I say, when you understand how it works, the prophet have a vision. He seek the meaning. The angel show up, giving the meaning, but it has to come to pass also. And what we witnessed in Daniel chapter 8 is the vision and the interpretation, but it didn't come to pass. They don't show you where it came to pass. Where it come to pass in First Maccabees, and it tells you that coming out the gate. It came to pass after Alexander of Macedon, the son of Philip, who came from the land of Checham, had utterly destroyed Darius. That's the last king of the second beast, the king of the Medes and Persians. That's the ram and the he-goat that he reigned in his stead. And he had before reigned over Greece. And he waged many wars, captured fortresses, slaughtered the kings of the earth, and he made his way to the ends of the earth and despoiled a multitude of nations. The whole earth was silent before him, and he became exalted, and his heart was uplifted. He mustered a very mighty army and ruled over lands and rulers of the heathens, and they paid him tribute. Afterwards, he fell sick. That tells you right there in Daniel chapter 8. It says, and that being, it says 21, and the rough goat is the king of the Greece, and the great horn is the between his eyes is the first king. That's Alexander. We just read. Now that being broken, there were 4 stood up. So Alexander died. It says right here. It says, and let me see, reigns. Let me look at. The whole earth was silent before him, and he became exalted, and his heart was uplifted. He mustered a very mighty army and ruled over lands and rulers of the heathens, and they paid him tribute. Afterwards, he fell sick. He was broken and knew that he was going to die. So he called his distinguished servants who had been brought up with him and divided his kingdom among them while he was alive. And Alexander had reigned 12 years when he died, and his servants succeeded him, each in his own dominion. After his death, they all put on crowns and as their sons after them for many years, and they did much evil on the earth. There sprang from them a sinful shoot named Antiochus Epiphanes, the son of King Antiochus. He had been a hostage in Rome, and he became king in the 137th year of the Greek kingdom. So let's look at that. So you get over here, and verse 24, chapter 8 of Daniel says, 23. And in the latter end of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to a full, a king of fierce countenance shall stand up understanding dark sentences. We see it right here, Antiochus Epiphanes. And there sprang from them a sinful shoot named Antiochus Epiphanes, the son of King Antiochus. He had been hostage in Rome. He became king. See that? He this is the same king over here, understanding dark sentences. 137th year of the Greek kingdom. In those days, there arose out of Israel lawless men who persuaded many, saying, let us go up and make a treaty with the heathen round about. For ever since the time we became separated from them, many misfortunes have overtaken us. And the plan seemed good in their eyes, and some of the people went eagerly to the king, and he authorized them to introduce practices in the practices of the heathen. So let's look at what he did over here. It says 25. 24, and the power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully and prosper in practice, destroy the mighty and the holy people, and through his policies. Also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself. So we see over here, he says, the plan seemed good in their eyes, and some of the people went eagerly to the king, and he authorized them to introduce practices of the heathen, and they built a gymnasium in Jerusalem. They don't tell you all this. Right, in Jerusalem, and submitted to uncircumcision and disowned the holy agreement, and they alienated themselves with the heathen and became slaves to wrongdoing. Then go down a little further, and it says, we read in Daniel 9, 26, 27, 28, how he caused abomination to make it desolate. It says, after subduing Egypt, right, he made a treaty with them for 7 years, 7-year treaty, the one they're talking about in Revelations that already happened. They're saying it haven't happened yet, but it happened right here. After subduing Egypt, he made a treaty with them for 7 years. Then he says, after subduing Egypt in the 143rd year, what I keep telling you, when the Israelites left, this is when they was ran out. Antiochus turned back, came up against Israel, entered into Jerusalem with a strong force, and his arrogance, he went into the sanctuary, took the gold altar, the lampstand. I'm not going to read all that, but he did all that. So where is that at in Daniel? Daniel 9:20. Daniel 9:27 says, 26. After 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end the wars and desolations, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. That's 7 years. They're trying to tell you all this is going to happen in Revelations, but we see Antiochus Epiphanes done all this. That's why it's not in the book, because they don't want you to know that. It says that many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week, this is the same week they're talking about in Revelation. He shall cause craft, he shall cause the sacrifices and the abomination to cease, and for the overspreading abomination he shall make it desolate. I just read that, and I'm gonna be through with this. So he says he went. It says. He entered into Jerusalem in a strong force, and in his arrogance, he went into the sanctuary and took the altar, the lampstand, and the light. All that already happened. So, like I was saying before, the Israelites, which are our descendants, descended from we are descendants of these people that's over here, the African American. And they fled right here at this point when this man right here, Antiochus, came and they went to the west coast of Africa. And they stayed there until the curses of Deuteronomy 28 came upon them, Deuteronomy 28 and 68. The ships came and brought them over here. And when I showed you how they still had their names. They had the Israelite names. And then they took away the Israelite names between the time they left Africa and got here. They had changed the names up to fool the rest of the world, because the rest of the world wouldn't have bothered with them if they knew who they were. So they changed their names. Okay. So, like I was saying before, with that being said, I'm gonna read this right here and I'll be through with it. We can open up for some Q&A. So, like I said, the Most High had already promised us that he already knew all this was gonna happen. So he promised us this right here. Oh. So he promised us this right here. I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna close out. He said this right here. That he was I'm gonna read it right quick. Like I say, a lot of people have saw this, but it's for the people that don't know. He says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that has fallen and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build them as in the days of old. The days of old was back in the day when David existed. Right here. David King, right? So we see right here to show you where we at, in case you've been following with it. He done raised up the tabernacle of David. As we speak, here it is. He done raised it up. So what we witnessing is he's in the process of closing up the breaches. So how he closed the breaches up? He is a son given. David lineage and all that. You got to bring David lineage back. You got to, if you notice, it's desolate, like he said. And then when the time Antioch Epiphanes is not on to now, it's desolate. Ain't nothing there. It's desolate. So he done raised it back up. And this right here, these images I'm showing you, 10 years old. So when you understand that, we know that it's a 400-year prophecy, and it started in 2016. So they say it's 2016, 2019. I mean 1619, and it's 2019, 400 years later, and we in 2020, and we in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. And then we got these David Tabernacle been raised. Who you think behind it? Flip Wilson. So anyway, we see that Mosiah is he on the move. He working. You know, and these episodes, you know, these episodes ain't just popping up out the blue, just for the GP. All of a sudden, in 2020. You know, the Most High on the move. You know, so let me read this here and then I'm gonna close out. Anybody have any questions? Let me read this here. The time of the Israelite deliverance from our oppressors is at hand. But in order for us to be delivered, we as Hebrew Israelites must search the scriptures of truth, the Old Testament, and find the Lord of hosts, our Redeemer, and we must call upon the same Lord that delivered our forefathers from the land of Egypt, the same Lord that delivered the Israelites from Babylon after 70 years. And in closing, the Lord of hosts proclaimed to Israel in times past, Deuteronomy 4, verses 35 through 37, unto thee it was shown that thou might have known that the Lord, he is God. There is none else besides him. Out of heaven, he made thee to hear his voice, that he might instruct thee. And upon the earth, he showed thee his great fire, and thou heardest his words out of the midst of the fire. And because He loved thy fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought thee brought thee out in his sight with his mighty power out of Egypt. And so, like I said, with that being said, understanding who we are and understanding all the things that the Most High have shown our forefathers and the things that he's proclaimed to us. Like I said, we see his hand right now, and our time is short. Our time is very short. So, like I said before, with that being said, I was going to open it up for a little Q&A before we close out. Okay.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Okay, Leonard. So the most important thing I need to understand about 143 BC is that is the time that the true Israelites were ran out of their land and went to the west coast of Africa.
Right.
Okay. Now, what do I need to understand about 70 AD? That the people that was in the land was not the true Israelites.
Right. It was not true Israelites, and they had not been the true Israelites for a long time. From 143 BC, all that history that's been given us with Jesus coming, laying hands on people, all that was Edomites. Okay. Josephus is an Edomite. The Israelites have been long gone, way back in when Daniel 9:26 is the prophecy of Daniel 9:26, 27, 28 is Antioch Epiphanes. But they telling you that he's coming in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But he already came way back then, and the Israelites is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So when you understand what I'm saying, you know, it's just like I was showed that it's a Enoch in Satan's. Cain's firstborn son was named Enoch.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas another Enoch over there in Adam's lineage, it's a Lamech in Cain's lineage. It's a Lamech in Adam's lineage. It's a Methuselah in Cain's lineage. There's a Methuselah in Adam's lineage. Well, it's if Israel if Esau stole the land in 143 BC when Antioch Epiphanes came and the Greeks and they stole the land by lot, they end up they call themselves by the same name, or Dan, Naphtali, Judah, Benjamin. They got the same names, but they're not Israelites that's there. So it's two Dans.
Okay.
It's two Judahs. It's two Benjamins.
Okay.
So when you understand that who is these people that came and overtook Europe? They call them the Saxons. So what do Saxon mean? Isaac's sons. It's the fake ass Jews.
Okay.
The 12 tribes that had the Edomites that stole the land. That when they left, they fled into Europe. That's the Saxons.
Mm-hmm.
But we see that the Israelites when Antioch Epiphanes came, they fled and went into Egypt. They went to Africa and ended up on the west coast of Africa. The real Jews. These people here that went, they using the same name. That's why these 12 apostles, the fake 12 apostles saying that I'm from the tribe of Benjamin and I'm from this tribe, that tribe. That's the fake tribe. They stole the land by lot.
Okay. And then it's significant to understand that timeline, because if you don't understand that 70 AD came after 143, you would think that it's 70, 80, and it's going higher. But 143 BC happened before 70 AD.
Right. That's AD. BC, before Christ. You know, it was before the common era.
Right.
So you're coming down. You're coming from 143 down to 70 AD is after 143 BC.
The 70 AD is more recent than the 143.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got to come down from that.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say a nation of fierce countenance, you referring to the nation of fierce countenance that's being run by the by Antioch Epiphanes or fierce countenance, right?
The Greeks, right?
The Greeks. Okay.
They all got the same countenance. Like when I gave you the understanding of who the Hebrews is. It's two personalities that get you how you get the Hebrew Israelite. The first one was from Noah and Shem and Eber, which are the people that crossed over from the flood. That's one personality that's imposed on the Israelite, and then on the Hebrew Israelite, the other personality was Jacob when he wrestled with the Lord of hosts.
Okay.
And that's what we've been doing. That's how we ended up here. We wouldn't conform. We kept on striving with him. That's how we ended up over here. So it's the same thing with those people. Those Edomites.
They take on the countenance of their leader.
Their father. And they all got fierce countenance. They don't care. They don't care about the young or the old, or they come in and kill them because we saw how they sleep with their daughters and their sons, and they sleep with their mama. Doing that, and you go to Jubilees. It shows you what they were doing before the flood. They had no sense of, they was doing it so much till they lost count on who was related to who, because they was all over the place.
Okay, my last comment is, you read a scripture that says something like, they will not leave thee neither corn nor wine. What was that about?
And Epiphanies, when he came, when you go to First Maccabees and Second Maccabees, he came and seized. He put Israel under. He seized the whole land. Okay. And so he had the people on the siege. Couldn't nobody go in and go out. When they ran out of food, they started eating their children. Okay. That's how you know all that's lining up. And also, when, like I said, when you understand what they did with the Old Testament and the New Testament was, he said, we read in let me read it right quick. We read in Daniel right quick where he says, says, and his power shall be mighty, but he shall not, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully. He shall practice and prosper and destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policies, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace he shall destroy many, and he shall also stand up against the prince of princes. So he came in, seized the land, put all the people under subjection. They couldn't go in or come out, and then eventually they started eating their own children. And we read that in Deuteronomy 28. Moses told them all that was going to happen. And that's what Antioch Epiphanes did. Right. So like I say, the dots have to be connected for you to see all that. Right. And so he changed times and all that. He switched they switched all the times around to make all this work. So one of the examples is they got Jesus. When you understand the words that's in red in the New Testament is an Edomite think tank right there. Jesus ain't said them. They got together with a think tank and wrote that down. So he says, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by army, flee to the mountains, right? Well, Antioch Epiphanes had it surrounded. He had it on the siege. Right. So what are you talking about? And what they do? They fled to the mountains. They fled and went across into Egypt and ended up on the west coast of Africa. But it wasn't during the time of Jesus. They using those. They just stole those the event and hijacked it and put it in another time frame. But and then not only that, Pompey surrounded Jerusalem with army. So what you talking about? You surround the city, when you see Jerusalem surrounded with army. Yeah. But like I said, it's the Most High is at work. It's not a coincidence that all of a sudden you got all these blacks started putting it on their mind to get a college education. Then you come out to find out that it's so many of them got college education, but they're not giving them jobs to correspond with the education they done got, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you sit there and say, well, damn, what's going on? Well, they can read.
Right.
That's why you sit on the. That's why they got an education at this hour, because now they can comprehend the scriptures. When they hoodwinked people back then with that what's written in red, people was illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't as versed as they are today, but now the Most High got the whole world versed. So now you can read this. You can read and see that you've been hoodwinked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going on right now. He said he's gonna help us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else got any comments or questions or whatever? No more comments, questions? Ain't nothing in the chat room?
No, there's no comments in the chat.
Okay. So where we at? Okay. So with that being said, I mean, like I said, I wanted to make sure I get this on in the record book, because it's a major part of getting an understanding of what's going on and understanding that where we at as Israelites, because like I said, it's that's just the beginning of it. When you find out you're a Hebrew Israelite, we got a God that's over us, and He's been hidden from us, and so then you understand that His prophecies on us that was prophesied to our forefathers 25 to 3,000 years ago, and they coming to pass right now in front of our faces, but we don't even know that they prophecies. We looking at them and looking to go to CNN and to Fox News and MSNBC, trying to figure out what the hell going on when it's right there in the scriptures. And so it was one of the reasons what inspired me to. A lot of people know who that we the Israelites, but not to this magnitude right here, and knowing the importance of it. So that's why I felt the need to do this episode right here. And I'm next week I'm planning on doing episode 9, dealing with Esau and Japhet. Because both of them hate Jacob, and they came together as one, which is Edom, and Edom is wrong, the fourth beast. And so, with that being said, being that there's no more questions on the line, I want to say shalom, and another shalom.